There's nothing like cracking that cellophane, pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
Hi, this is Jason Hall from Western Addiction, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father, and as always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and privilege to have Mr. Jason Hall of Western Addiction. Western Addiction has released their new album, Frail Bray, via Fat Wreck Chords. Also, check out Western Addiction's singles, Lurchers, which I think that is the new one right now, and They Burned Our Paintings, those bastards. You want to check that single out as well. So, Jason, how's it going, man? And what's up so far?
It's going well. Today's release day, so it's a little crazy. I've been doing a bunch of interviews, and we did this live Ask Me Anything session with the record label. So I've been looking at my phone all day. Can't wait to not look at it for a little while.
Oh my God. Yes. I know those feelings.
But it's pretty good, pretty exciting. I think this has been the most interviews I've ever done. I know it's like the worst time in the world to release a record, but it's been pretty exciting actually. There's been some pretty good reception, I think.
So how's it been working with Fat Records so far for you guys?
Well, I have kind of a weird relationship with the label. Most of my bandmates do. I used to work there. I worked there for 11 years. And I stopped working there in 2007. Our drummer also used to work there. He worked there for 18 years. And our drummer, Chad, and our guitarist, Ken, he also worked there as well. So we have kind of an insider view of the label and an outsider band view. So, and then a lot of my lifetime friends still work there. People I go on vacation with, and they're, friends and family pretty much at this point. So it's good. I mean, Fat's a very fair label. It's for a band of our size. We get great service, like incredible service. And I could call them up anytime, any day, and they would help me, definitely.
My God, this is like an in-house thing then. Jeez.
Kind of. It's funny because you do get certain privileges because you are friends, but you also get told the truth. So when something's like, listen, dude, that's not happening for you. And it's actually kind of helpful, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. To have, like, if you can take it, it's actually pretty helpful because they don't have to dance around us. They just have, we're doing this, we're not doing this, and we just go forward. It's great.
Okay, so the Tremulous album was released in 2017, and it wasn't exactly a light-hearted album. It felt more depressing. So why was it important to you to change the direction of this new album?
I mean, what's funny is every time we release a record, so when we released Tremulous, people are like, whoa, is this about the government? and we said, no, it's not at all, but it kind of applied. And then now we're in this insane situation, this pandemic, and people were like, whoa, did you write a hopeful record? Because Frail Bray is all about hope and positivity because of this. And I'm like, no, man, I didn't know this was going to happen. But I don't know. My grandpa always taught me, like, to kind of shrug your shoulders and go on when things are bad, where it's like, what are you going to do? Just, oh, well, this sucks. Let's keep going. And it's kind of like, I don't know, if you have kids, I have kids, and there's a job when you're a dad. It's like, you just mop the barf up and you throw the cat out and you keep going. You can't cry. You just got to go. And so I thought I can be depressed and write these sad songs, or I can try to have a little bit of hope and positivity. And I think our shows are kind of fun and wild. So I'm like, why not try to have a hopeful record? So I just tried it.
What's impressed or excited you the most about making the new album, Frail Bray, if anything? Is there anything about this album that sticks out personally for you?
I mean, we had a really good time in the studio. I don't love being in the studio. It's like a magnifying glass for everything you can't do. And I'm not the most fantastic singer. I can scream like crazy, but in terms of hitting actual notes, it's harder. So I did have a really good time in the studio. We recorded with this guy named Jack Shirley in Atomic Garden in Oakland, and he's recorded with some big bands like Deaf Heaven and Gouge Away. And I don't know, his approach was really positive. I felt like we were similar personalities in terms of like, I personally am kind of like uptight and anxious, and he's like very structured, and he's like, let's get down to business. And I'm like, yeah, I like this. This is good. I don't really do the party parts of rock and roll, which is, I just do the rock and roll part. I'm married and I have a family, and I just love music a lot. So I don't do the drug part. I don't do the women part. And I just do the rock and roll part. So, and Jack was all business, and I felt he's similar to like that. So that was one big difference. Like, I enjoyed the studio this time, and I tried to write the songs in a different way this time. We really focused on melody a lot, vocal melodies, because I'm not sure if you've ever seen this, but I'm always just screaming at people. And I think I needed to interject a little bit more melody, because if you get to the other way, I don't know, we're in this weird netherworld. I'm not sure how much you know about the band, but we're on Fat Records, but we're not a pop punk band. We can play with metal bands, but they're kind of like, well, I don't know about these guys until they see us. So we're in this nowhere world. And so I wanted to like ride that line of having melody and aggressive and loud and messy.
So I want to go back and talk about Jack here just for a second. Working with him on this album, did he get something out of you guys that maybe somebody else might not have gotten possibly?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a source of contention in the beginning too, because Jack's like, I want to try this thing where I'm going to record you live. And we're like, whoa, man. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, because usually you do scratch tracks and you take the best and then you overdub some stuff and then you fix some stuff. But he's like, do you want to try it? And I'm like, I don't know, Jack, this seems risky. I mean, we're not the tightest band in the world. And he said to me, he goes, have you ever played a show? I said, yeah, we've played a show, man. And he goes, did you make it all the way through? Can you make it through a song? I said, well, yeah, we can do that. He goes, okay, well, good. He goes, think about it. When you're recording, you keep almost all the stuff. You just have to fix a couple things. So we pretty much recorded live, and our drummer was worried about it too, because he'll usually have to play to a click track because it's hard. It's hard to keep time. I mean, the best drummers in the world go off time. But we were timing him pretty on beat, and so recording live was like a big surprise to us, and he kind of got us to trust him. And I don't know, when I'm singing with the band in the practice space or at a show, I mean, I can scream forever. I can break a glass. But when you're in the studio, it's this weird, like, controlled setting where you don't get the vibe of the energy, but it did help a little bit to have everybody playing live and me screaming a little bit.
Especially if you're recording on tape, it's got that more warmth feeling, I guess, as opposed to digital, if that makes sense. And it does. People can hear it if they listen to it real close. Yeah,
it's like the longer I play in a band, when you're on stage, you're hearing things and feeling things. So you're hearing like two guitars on either side. You're feeling the kick drum on the back of your calf. So it's like there's things that sound like a band. So when I hear a record and it's just completely cooked and artificial, I'm like, this is not what a band sounds like. And Jack was really stressing, he's like, look at how you guys play. You are like a live, sloppy, hot, hardcore punk band. It should feel like live, and it should feel hot. I kind of wanted big production, but like a messy interpretation of that. You know what I mean? So that's definitely what Jack brought to the picture. Like he's just really good at being confident and telling. He's not too controlling. It's just, I don't know. I recommend any band work with him.
How long did it take to write and complete this album?
Write and complete probably 2017, probably 3 years. I mean, I always kind of catalog words and riffs along the way. The recording part of it actually only took about 2 weeks because we're pretty like a ready band. We have everything ready to go. And we also don't do it like other bands. You know, when a band says, I recorded 40 songs. Oh, we wrote 40 songs, but we only chose 12. I'm like, get the hell out of here. You did not. I don't believe any band that says that. But But so what we do, we're pretty good about editing ourselves. So we usually go into the studio with 14 songs, knowing that we'll drop 2 or 3. But because if it's not flying in this practice space, it's not going to fly in the studio. And we have everything ready to go. All the melodies worked out. We try a little bit of experimentation, but not too much. So like about 2 or 3 years. And I don't know. I'm always writing little riffs and keeping words. And I don't know if our publicist mentioned, but I have kind of a weird job and I name things for a living. So at a branding agency, so I do get to see a lot of words. And if something like pokes out that's interesting, I write it down right away.
So is there any songs that did not make this album that we could see possibly down the road on an EP or another album from you guys?
Yes, there's 2 songs left over, and we really want them to come out. One of the songs is about my grandfather, so I really wanted to come out. We've had it around forever. We recorded the music for it during the Tremulous time, and it could have went on this record, but we're very careful about the number of songs that go on a record. I believe that you shouldn't be wasting your listeners' time, and if you have 18 songs that are pretty good versus an 11-song record that just rips, I'd rather have an 11-song record. So we held that one off, and then we re-recorded this other old song. We actually recorded the music during Tremulous, but we couldn't finish it. It's a duet, and our friend, her name's Brenna Red, and she sings for the band The Last Gang. She sang on it because it's a duet, a male and female part, and she is an incredible singer, and she sounds just like Joan Jett, and so we saved that one, and it came out so good. It almost went on the record, but we kind of wanted to have all new stuff out of the gate, so we saved it.
And albums can be oversaturated with songs. I know it's a crazy thing to say, but it's very true. It's very true.
It's so true. Why would you want to turn your great record into a good record? Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to us.
Any tracks standing out more to you than any right now on the album? I know it must change every time you listen to it or you talk about it. I know these are your babies, but do you have any that stick out for you personally?
Yeah, it's funny. You go into the studio thinking, this one's pretty good. I think it's going to be pretty good, and then it doesn't turn out well, or, vice versa. I think my favorite one is They Burned Our Paintings, just because of the subject matter, and there's a couple pretty cool riffs in there, and I mean, I write all the music and all the words, but I don't play guitar in the band. I do at home, but I let our good guitar players play it. There's a couple riffs in there that I'm kind of proud of. I'm not the best guitarist, and it took our guitarists, Tony and Ken, to play them right. But I don't know. I just think the vocal melody on the song is pretty good, and the riffs are cool, and I really like art. So it's all about art and degenerate art in the 20s and 30s. So I just like the whole thing. I think that's the standout one for me.
So let's talk about this just a little bit, man. Was there any songs that you guys are working on that you thought, well, this won't change? But then when you got in to start working on these, just maybe one song took a huge different take on it. Is there one song maybe that kind of did that on this album?
Yeah, they don't change too much. I'll say the song that was the most struggle is We Lived in Ultraviolet. It's song 10, I believe. There's just a couple things. The guys are really good at structure and flavor and style of a song, and I'm kind of like Frankenstein, so they kind of like smooth it out sometimes. I will say Lurchers, the song you mentioned earlier, which is the second single, that one has some changes. There were a little bit of the intro. I tend to write these like long intros, and the guys are like, "What is this, man? Why are you doing this?" But I kind of like when a song like it lets you know immediately what the song is. But the guys were a little tired, and I did a little too much, so we ripped that. We pulled that part off the song, and it changed the structure a little bit, and it just turned out fantastic. I think we never start a song just like go. We always have some weird little intro, and for that song, it was just go. Everyone starts at the same time. So that was the one that changed the most.
Writing the new songs, does it challenge or push you guys to come up with something new and stay fresh with, your music these days, possibly?
I mean, yes, but I listen to a lot of music, though, and so my job lets me listen to music all day long, and I hear lots of different styles, and I'm like a pretty open-minded person, so I'm willing to take other genres and put them into our music, but it all gets run through the filters, so it sounds like us. But yes and no. I also really like songwriting. I don't know if I'm good at it, but I like the mystery of it, where you're trying to unlock this grand mystery vocal melody and or some riff that's just going to make your body feel good. I'm always like, it's like a search, you know, and other kind of like people I know that write the songs, they're kind of on this eternal search. And so I don't really get tired of that search. I mean, and I do listen to lots of styles of music. So Lurchers it's straight up a country western song. I really like classic country and modern versions of what I think is classic country, like Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard and, you know, Hank Williams Sr., all those dudes. And so it's just a country rock and roll song, but it's cloaked in, you know, what Western Edition does.
See, I like what you said there. You incorporate different genres of music, different flavors of music in your guys' music. I like that because I think some bands are scared to go outside that box and continue growing because, I mean, you know, you may find a sound out there that fits this band and it knocks it out the ballpark. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like you got to be careful not to go too crazy or, I mean, I'm not going to be writing any kind of like dance or pop songs. I mean, maybe though. I kind of think a good song is a good song is a good song, and it just depends on the distortion you have on it. But we have this one song called Rose's Hammer 1, and there is a full-blown tremolo picking black metal part. And some of the guys in the band do not like black metal. They hate it. And if I even say the word, it makes them upset. But our guitarist Tony was like, hey, you know what would be really good in this part? It's like, do you know the picking style? It's like, you know, like a mandolin picking where it's like like that. That's the style, and it's black metal. It could be bluegrass or black metal, depending if you're holding a mandolin or you got a guitar. And he played this part in that, and I was like, ooh. And I looked at our drummer Chad, who likes metal too, and I like covered my mouth when I was saying, I'm like, that was black metal. And I go, don't say anything to the guys because they'll kill it if they know that it is that. But it was like an interesting look. It just happens for a second. So you got to kind of pull in all these parts to make interesting songs. Like I like Simon and Garfunkel. I like Morrissey. I also like Motorhead. I like Mayhem. There's all these really cool things you can put into your song and your voice.
Who did the artwork for the album?
That was actually our friend. Her name is Kristen Linney. She is a photographer. She took the cover photo, and I think the artwork, those are the biggest fights we have as a band. It was very stressful. And I have it, so in the same way I like to have all these genres come in and all these new ideas. Some of the guys don't like that, and that's okay. And so I wanted something totally different. And I actually lost this sort of, we run the band as a democracy, and that has its pros and it has its cons. The pro is for music is when you have 5 guys go, this rips, then you know you got something, you know? The con is when you have 3 people like something and 2 people that don't, then you're kind of hosed. And I was hosed on the cover art. And so, but I think it turned out kind of cool. The one thing I did leverage was I didn't want any words on the cover, and that caused a lot of problems. And usually our record label just says, no way. And I tried to do it on our last record, and I love Erin. She runs our record label. And I was like, Erin, what do you think about no covers? And she looked at me and she goes, no way in hell. I'm like, okay, we're good. But this time we did this cool thing where this slip cover goes over the top of it and it has our band name, but it's not on the actual photo. So it was kind of like a nice compromise between the band. I just like, I know the cover looks tough, but I like not looking tough. Like I never want to look like a tough band, even though we're like, 5 dark, cloaked creeps in the dark on that cover. But that's just how the artwork fell. And you know what? They sent it to me today, and I looked at it. I'm like, this is kind of cool. It almost looks like Ramones' Rocket to Russia or something without the words.
What do you hope everyone takes away, or message you hope they hear while listening to any of Western Addiction's music in general? What do you hope they get from it?
I hope positivity, and I hope, it's a hard time right now, but you got to try. There's no better way in the world to respect other people than to like wear a mask out or walk away from them when they're walking towards you. It's like a perfect opportunity to treat your fellow human with respect. I don't want to get someone sick and then they get their grandmother sick and then the grandma passes away. It's like, I don't know. I like for our shows to be really wild and really fun, but I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want anybody to be scared, and I don't want any tough guy stuff. I just want it to be fun and positive, and I'm hoping that the record will be that. I hope it's enjoyable, it's short, it doesn't take up too much of your time, but it makes you feel good.
What made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you that said, yeah, this is what I want to do, or even try, possibly, if you can recall?
Well, that is a good question, because I never call myself a musician, and it's weird because some people say that. I do think I'm just a guy who makes songs. I think the guys in our band are musicians. Like, they're real musicians. I'm kind of like a dreamer that happens to play a little bit of guitar, and I'm always, pushing a rock up a mountain. But I have ideas, and I have drive. I'm not that great of a musician, but there was a couple points in life where, I've been thinking about this lately because a lot of interviewers ask it, when did you get into music? And I realized I didn't listen to music my whole life. Whether it was like playing like my Star Wars record on my turntable when I was a kid, or Weird Al, or hair metal, or I might not have always had the best taste, and that's fine. I can live with that. But I've been listening to music for a long time. And so I've always liked it, but I've never really been anything. I'm not a skater. I'm not a punker. If you saw me around town, I look like a square, and that's fine. I'm comfortable being with just like a regular looking person. But I think what got me into music was my dad. My dad, he's not wild, but he just takes more chances. And he walked in my room one day and he put a guitar in my hand. He goes, "Here, I bought this. I bought this off a guy on the dock." And he's a truck driver, and he, the forklift guys were there, and he's like, "I got you this. You're going to try this." I just look at him. I was like, "Okay, I'll try it." And I did try it. And I think back about, he likes music, and he likes the blues, and, he always had his records out. And so he was one of the first people that really kind of was like, "You got to try this thing." And I was like, "Okay, I'll try it," And then just me liking music, and I was a DJ in college, and like at a college radio station. And then when I worked at label, I saw bands all the time, and I just got so tired of watching other bands. And I was in this venue at night, and you have to go out a lot at night when you work in the music industry. And I was like, you know what? I'm so tired of watching these other bands. I think I want to try it. I want to try this. And I don't know how to make songs, but I can play the guitar a little bit, and I could scream my ass off. So I just tried, and now we're here, 3 records deep.
There is nothing wrong listening to Weird Al Yankovic, because I'm a big metal and punk guy myself, and I listen to Weird Al, and I don't care. I love it.
Seriously, it's kind of funny. I have a little daughter now. She loves Weird Al too, and I was just we talk about it a lot. And my bandmates listen to Weird Al when they're kids. He has the most incredible career if you think about it.
Yeah.
And when he covers your song, you've made it.
Yep.
You have now, you're on the map. And so now I kind of like, I listen to a lot of Weird Al when I was a young person. And she digs it too, and I can kind of see her face, and she's like, "This is funny, huh?" I'm like, "That's very funny, man."
Like if you buy his albums, and he does all these, what they call like a polka. He does some polka, instrumental, but a polka deal where there's all kinds of songs.
Yeah, like a medley.
Yeah, a polka medley. And oh my God, they're so good. They're so good. Like Addicted, Addicted to Spuds. Living with a Hernia. Come on. My Bologna.
It's so good. It's so funny. And actually today something really funny happened to the band. I'm not sure if you know the website. It's called Hard Times. It's like that, The Onion, that magazine, The Onion, where it's like The Onion for punks, and they make fun of punk bands. And so they made fun of us today for the first time, and the guys were just so psyched. They're like, "Check this out. Hard Times made fun of us." And it was almost like, in our world, the Weird Al treatment, like where Weird Al covered your song. The Hard Times made fun of us, and now we are here, man. Let's do this.
There you go. There you go. There's your introduction, my friend.
It's so cool.
All right. So since almost everyone is in quarantine and starting to get back out there just a little bit from this coronavirus, do you think concerts and festivals will have the same impact as before with sales and attendance? Or do you think this has hurt it in the long run with, having like a lower attendance or how they're going to do all this after this is all said and done with. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, of course it's going to be a slow build back, but I mean, so many things have happened throughout history where you thought it was the end of the world. And actually, I used to ask this to my grandparents. I was like, did they always tell you that everything was going to end all the time? And they're like, yeah, all the damn time. World War II, Korea, Vietnam, all these things. I was like, oh, that's kind of comforting in a strange way. Or if you sometimes will watch YouTube at night, and if you watch like the old episodes of Donahue or Jerry Springer, where they have all the punks on, and they have these ones from the 80s, and they have the bands up there, and they're interviewing the bands, and people are so scared of nuclear war. And I was like, damn, this was like a real fear in the 80s. And I faintly remembered, I was too young, but I was like, there's always been stuff that's going to come along. And I mean, there was a gigantic, the Spanish influenza happened, and then this thing's happening. I think people are really short-sighted, and I mean, people go forward, and I think it's just gonna start happening, and people are, I mean, don't you feel like the country's kind of opening up now, whether you like it or not? And then some people are going to have to get sick. It's terrible, but they are opening the country, whether I don't want it to, but it is happening. And so I do think music's just going to fire right back up. The world's going to fire right back. And I just think humans find a way,
Is there a country that stands out or shocks you that Western Addiction's music gets support from, or even gets played in possibly, that you can recall?
Yeah, actually there's two places. Our guitarist is Japanese, so every time we go there, we kind of get the royal treatment, and he takes us around. And it's so weird when you get there, like people are waiting for you after you get off the plane and the bus, and that is insane. I mean, not a lot of people for us, we're small time, but that's totally weird. And then also, like, I've done so many German interviews for this record, and the first time we toured Europe in 2017, I think it was, maybe it's 2015. I'm not sure how familiar you are with our label, but Fat Records, it is going red hot there. It is so strong. I was blown away. So you play a show, a lot of the shows you play, it's like the punk show happens from 7 to 10, and then the dance party starts after. And either it's like a regular club night, or it's a punk dance party, which is so weird. A punk dance club, and they're playing like Pennywise, Rancid, NoFX, Rise Against, Offspring, and it is like 1990 just going nuts.
Hell yeah. Wow.
So it's so weird. And so they worship Fat Records, which I'm not complaining about. So when we go to these places, the crowds are fantastic and people are having a good time. And I don't know, there's something about Germany that sort of makes sense with our band. Like, the people are so enthusiastic about music, and it's really cool and refreshing.
Well, here's the thing though. Germany absolutely loves and eats up punk music and metal. They absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
They need to throw some Gutter Mouth in there, and some, Brick by Brick, and some, you already said Pennywise, so that's a H2O. H2O's another band. Jeez.
Yeah.
Good God.
Oh, it's just so open.
Yeah.
It's a nice feeling to be like, oh, I'm really interested in music, and I don't care. Like, when we play in the U.S. sometimes, there are certain cities that are good for us, like Portland or Seattle, and but some cities, like even our own hometown, it's like that you just see so much. It's just like a different feeling where people are very excited, and that feels pretty good.
So I know you had a lot of music growing up, and I know you had a lot of albums that you listened to, but did you have a go-to album or a song when you were younger that just let you escape or made you feel everything was going to be cool? Did you have that possibly? And if so, what was it?
I mean, I don't recall like one. I mean, not in terms of escape. I mean, the way I got into punk was trying to find like filthy music, like illicit music, whether it was, NWA or if you heard this band called Dr. No, they're an old punk band, but they had this really dirty song, and we thought that was hilarious. Like we'd be, I don't know if I was like 12 or something, but I'm like, I should not be hearing this. So not as many when I was young, but as I'm older, I mean, this sounds terrible, but I always tell my wife, I'm like, okay, listen, at my funeral, you got to play Highway Patrolman by Bruce Springsteen. And I don't know if you know that song, but Johnny Cash covered it as well. And Johnny Cash is my favorite singer of all time. But the Bruce Springsteen version is just it's so sad and so powerful. And I don't know, that song just means a lot to our family. I used to, when my daughter was little, I would drive her. We had this road that goes out to the ocean, and there's all these animals and deers, and we'd take night rides, and I'm trying to make her fall asleep at night. And she's like, put on that Police song and let's jam out to the ocean. And it's just so sad and so powerful. And I don't know if you know the song, but it's all about family and like doing right by your family. And then the guy's brother commits this crime, but he's struggling whether to arrest his own brother because it's his family. But that song is like one of the, I don't know, it's like a really important song in our lives.
Going back to the old country singers way, you got Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, Willie Nelson. What about the Highwaymen? Did you like their music as well?
A little bit. I'm funny with supergroups. Do you like supergroups?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, some of them's okay. Yeah, some of it's all right.
Some of it is okay. There's just something about like a supergroup where they might not be bringing their best stuff, but they might also, and then maybe there's competition. So you don't want to like, I'm not going to tell Chris Christopherson like his part's lame. You know what I mean? You probably popped one, but so maybe. I mean, yeah, there's a couple songs, but I don't know. I'm not a big supergroup person.
Mm-hmm. Folks, you want to get out and pick up Western Addiction's new album, Frail Bray, via Fat Wreck Chords. It's out. You want to go pick it up. Also, check out their singles, Lurchers and They Burned Our Paintings. You want to get out and check this all out. So, Jason, how can folks stay in touch with you, buy some merchandise, tour dates, all this good stuff when it goes back to normalcy? How can they do that, good sir?
We have all of our socials and Bandcamp, and actually we just put up a new shirt today. It was designed by our friend Johnny. He's in this other band called Swingin' Utters. We have all the socials going and reach out, and we still respond to people, and we love it when people send us messages. So thank you so much.
Before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for the show?
Absolutely. Okay. Hi, this is Jason Hall from Western Addiction, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Hour podcast. Please get out, check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link and our YouTube link and every platform that we're on. And trust me, we are on a lot of platforms out there. Also, hopefully soon we will be doing some Facebook Live interviews, possibly. So we're going to try to work on this a little bit. And please get out and support Western Addiction. Pick up their new album, Frail Bray, via Fat Wreck Chords. You will not be disappointed. Give these guys a chance. And Jason, hey, I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You had great questions.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.